Okay, as promised, this is a tutorial on how to begin your starter. This is day one. We're probably going to go through 4 to 5 days establishing this young starter. Now, I can go into all kind of different ways, from measuring to, like in grams, both the water and the flour, and then there's just many ways to create a starter, a sourdough starter, than there is sands in the ocean. This works for me. This is an old, and I'm talking old, like 50 years old, a recipe I found in a Mennonite cookbook, Pennsylvania Dutch. And after so many starts and fails and, putting it away and being scared and all that stuff, I thought, I want to give it one more try. And I tried this, and it just happened to work for me. Now, I will do the other version as well by the scales. But right now, we're going to go through this one first. We're going to go through the 4 or 5 days, and then we're going to see what happens. So, here we go. What you need on day one, let me turn this down, okay? Okay, so we have a cup of whole wheat flour. You can use rye, you can use white, unbleached, but it's recommended to use either rye or whole wheat, or freshly milled flour. It just has more germ in it. The other thing we're going to need is either filtered or bottled water. It is true that tap water does hinder the creation of a starter. I'm living proof of it. So just use filtered or bottled water, no tap water. Then you need a quart-sized jar. Now this one has measurements on it. You don't necessarily need it because you can use rubber bands to show your size, but day one it's not that important. So, the other thing that we need something to stir it with. I don't use metal when I'm dealing with my starters. I use glass, wood, and this. Now, this is old. You can tell how stained it is. I've cut it up into a million pieces. Old cheesecloth. I use this to strain my tea when I make my sweet tea, and just, for whatever reason I need to strain stuff. But, are my yogurts. This is what I use. This is what we're going to use. You can use coffee filters, because this is going to go, after we're done, this is going to go on top of your jar, and we're going to fix it with a rubber band. You don't want to put anything tight on here. We need the air in there because we're developing your starter in your home, in your environment, with your own yeast. We have yeast all over us. It's falling off of us as we speak. It's everywhere. That's what's going to make your starter, and it needs to be able to breathe, and this will allow it to breathe. So, like I said, I'm not getting into the weights and measures and all, and the scales and all that stuff. We're just going by this old Mennonite recipe that works for me. So, it's a cup of flour, a cup of whole wheat flour. I'm going to put that in here. Watch me make a big old fat mess. And there's none of that fancy discard and something I never could wrap my head around. Why am I making it and then having to throw it away? But we're not going to be doing any of that stuff. We're not going to be this ounce out and all that. Just follow what I'm saying. A cup of whole wheat flour to a half a cup of warm, like bath water, filtered or bottled water. And this, and actually, I'm lying to you. I'm making a double. This is a 2 cup. I meant to tell you that, and it totally blew my mind. because there's a reason for my craziness right here. So it's a 2 cup. This is a 2 cup measuring cup. 2 cups of whole wheat. 1 cup of warm water. We're going to mix that together. Because when it's all said and done, you're going to have 2 starters. One for backup for your refrigerator, and one to keep on your counter should you find you use it every day like I do, or every other day. And you want to get in here, and you just want to mix it really, really well. You want the consistency to be that of like a thick cake, not cake batter, but pancake batter. And you want to get in there, get it all stirred up. And you're not going to see anything happening for a couple of days. Don't even expect it. But you're going to feed it every single day. Just don't be afraid of the process. Just trust it. Just trust the process. Sourdough is the original leavening for breads that goes back centuries, hundreds and hundreds of years, all over the world. Okay, I'm going to add just a tad bit more water to this. Just a tad. I'll show you. You want it to be about the consistency of pancake batter. And like I said, we're going to be making 2 of these. I had 2 in my head when I began, but I was giving you directions for 1. I apologize for that. So just remember, this is going to eventually be 2 starters. 1 for your refrigerator, 1 for your counter. Because you always want to back up. You never know when something's going to go wrong with 1. And you don't want to lose your hard-earned starter and not have anything to rely on. You have to start all over again, right? Okay, look. See this? Can you see that? That's about where you want it. Okay, so this is going to be day 1, and tomorrow night, clean off the sides. And this jar is going to get pretty messy after a few days. But once it starts fermenting, we're going to change it out. But for right now, just leave it alone. Okay, so what we're going to do is take our cheesecloth, coffee filter, or whatever you have there, paper towel, fold it over, affix the rubber band around it, and there you have it. You see? Okay. Okay. So day 1, and then tomorrow, I'll show you again. We're gonna feed it, but then we're gonna divide it into 2. Okay. So until tomorrow night, I'll see you. Okay, this is day 2. As promised, we're going to evening 2. It's dark outside. Yesterday, remember we started off with 2 cups of whole wheat flour to 1 cup of bottled water. You have to use bottled or filtered. Tonight, we're going to divide that, and then we're going to continue on for the next, until tomorrow, feeding it just in the evening. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing, okay? There you go. See that all right? Okay. So, let's get in here and stir it up. It's already doing a little something in there, but my kitchen has been so warm. Like 76 degrees. You see what that looks like in there? Okay, so let's divide this in half. just fine. Okay. Now tomorrow we'll take this one and put it in a clean jar. We don't need to right now tonight. They do get messy, especially if you're using it every day or every other day and you just keep it in the same pot all the time, which happens. Some people do that. Okay, so get our whole wheat flour out. We're going to put 1 teaspoon in that one, 1 teaspoon in this one of whole wheat flour, and we're going to put 1 teaspoon, I'm saying teaspoons, guys, it's tablespoons, I'm sorry. 1 tablespoon each of water, 1 tablespoon each of flour, whole wheat flour. And we're going to stir it up real good. Just like so. Real good. You don't want any dry spots in there. And the same thing with this one. Now what this does, remember I told you about the discard? This keeps you from having to throw part of this away as you're growing your sourdough. And it helps you with getting your backup started in your refrigerator. So, we're going to put our little caps back on here. Like so. And we're going to do the same process tomorrow. Oh, I got the rubber band over in the other counter. I'll get that in a minute. Okay, so this is day 2. We'll recap again. So we took day 1, which had 2 cups of whole wheat flour to 1 cup of bottled water. We let it sit for 24 hours. And then we divided it into 2 quart containers, glass containers. You can use plastic. I would recommend plastic or glass. I wouldn't recommend metal. So we divided those up, split those, and tonight, on day 2, we put 1 tablespoon of whole wheat flour to 1 tablespoon of bottled water in each one. We're going to cover them, and we're going to repeat this again on day 3, tomorrow evening. So until then, I bid you adieu. Well, good evening, everyone. This is day 3 of our sourdough starter tutorial. I'll say that real quick, 3 times. You can't do it. I can hardly say it once. Yeah, day 3. So this is going to start a little bit of a different. Instead of just doing it in the evening, 2 teaspoons, an equal amount of flour to water. We're going to do 1 each in both of our little jars. So let me put the camera down so that you can see what we're doing. And you can see what your sourdough looks like so far. Okay, there you go. Let's take the little bonnets off. And they're actually fermenting. They're actually bubbling, which is a good sign. As is this one. See that? Can you see the bubbles in there? So, what we're going to do now, we're going to change it up just a little bit. Instead of the 2 teaspoons of whole wheat flour to 2 teaspoons of filtered water or bottled water, we're just going to do 1. We're going to do 1 tonight, and this time tomorrow morning, we're going to do another one. We're going to put 1 each. 1 teaspoon each, and then 1 teaspoon of water. And in the morning when we get up, we're going to do the same thing. So for every 12 hours, we're going to feed it 1 time. So 1 teaspoon of whole wheat flour, 1 teaspoon of whole wheat flour. And in the morning, we'll change this jar out. It's getting pretty nasty looking. Okay, 1. And this is warm water. I warmed it in the microwave because you don't want to put ice cold in there because that just retards the ability to grow with the yeast. The yeast likes a warm environment. So we want to stir this up really good. The yeast that you're doing, you're developing wild yeast. Yeast that is in the atmosphere of your home. No other place on earth is going to be like what's happening in your home right now, in your environment. Your sourdough starter is unique to your house. Okay, so that one's done. We'll go over here and do this one. Looks good, guys, so far. We got some activity. So we should really have activity by this time tomorrow night. We'll start checking it. That'll be day 4. And you expect that. Okay. So here you go. Okay. I'm gonna lay that. Okay, so let's put our little bonnets back on. We completed day 3. And we'll meet up again tomorrow morning at the beginning of day 4. What did I do with my little rubber band? Oh, that's good. Where's my rubber band? Oh, there it is. It matches the tablecloth. There we go. Hey, Andy. Okay, honey. Okay, so until in the morning, we'll put these to bed on the counter, and I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Well, good morning. So, today is actually day 5 for our sourdough starter. Yesterday, I had filmed both the morning, and then last night I filmed, and when I went to check and do some editing on it, the internet had gone out and really messed the whole thing up. So it's just unusable. But this is, I did the process, 1 in the morning, 1 of night, both the whole wheat flour and the bottled water, which I'm using. Use filtered as well, but just don't use tap water. So what we're going to do is we're going to feed your starters today. And I'm going to change the one out into a clean jar. And this is day 5. And I believe, guys, that we have a starter. It's actually bubbling. It's very active. I don't know if you can see that. Very active. And there's a test that we can do to see if it's going to turn into, if we can start treating it like an active starter. So the test on this is to put a little bit into a bowl of water. If it floats, it's considered a starter. So let's try that. If it doesn't, we have a ways to go yet. So here we go. And it's not floating. Some of it's floating, but it's not ready. So that we're going to have to give it another day. And we'll try this again tomorrow. So we know right now that we do not have an active starter. So let's go ahead and clean this guy up. Usually, it can take 7 days or more for this to happen. But it is active. So we're getting there. So we're going to add this. Now, one word of caution when dealing with starters, doughs, yeast. Don't put these in your sink when you go to dispose of them. Don't put them down the drain at all. Put them in a plastic bag or something like that and then throw them away. because evidently it causes a lot of problems with drains and especially like septic tanks and things like that. So okay, so we clean it up. We're going to put 1 teaspoon this morning of whole wheat flour and 1 teaspoon of bottled water. I got a little bit of a frog in my throat. So here we go, teaspoon of bottled water and a teaspoon of whole wheat flour. Now, once this becomes a starter, excuse me, an active starter, you'll be able to use any flour you want in here. You can use all-purpose, rye, whole wheat. I wouldn't use self-rising. I've never seen that used, or it's never been recommended to be used, so I wouldn't use self-rising. If you're from the South, a lot of people, they don't even use all-purpose flour. So if that's the case, just buy yourself a little 1-pound bag of whole wheat flour and a little 1-pound bag of all-purpose so that you can keep your starters going. Now you very well may be able to use it. I just don't know, and I'm not going to recommend something I don't know. Okay, and it looks like this jar is going to be changed tomorrow. It's getting pretty bad too. Okay. So we're good there. And put our little lids back on them. Because you want them to breathe. I bet tomorrow we're going to see a starter. A young starter. That doesn't mean you're going to be able to make bread with it. We still have a ways to go to do that because it is young. But I've got a trick to show you how you can do that. Use your starter and bake bread with it. So, okay. Now, I just wanted to say one more thing and show you something. I probably have about 30 cookbooks in this house from everybody, from all centuries, and I've got one that goes back into the 18th century. But some of the books that everybody's interested in is like the Martha Stewart Living Cookbook. She makes a ton, you know, she's really into cookbooks. I mean, she's got a variety of cookbooks. And this one is called The Great Courses, The Everyday Gourmet. This is actually on PBS. If you look into the Discovery Channel, he is an amazing teacher, and he actually cooked at the Institute, the Cooking Institute. But I really enjoyed watching him. So I just wanted to let you know about these books. I didn't buy these new. If you go on Amazon and you go for the used books and you put in cookbooks used, these books new, this one, especially the Martha Stewart book, probably cost about $50, $60. I got it for $12. And the Everyday Gourmet, I think I paid $7 for this. And it's a hardback bound, beautiful book with a dust cover. So do yourself a favor if you're looking to get into some cookbooks, but just don't want to spend those high dollars. Type in used, and you'll be surprised at what pops up. So I'm going to close this segment out on the sourdough. Tonight we're going to feed this again, 1 teaspoon of water, 1 teaspoon of whole wheat. And I'm thinking tomorrow we'll probably have the beginnings of a young starter. So have a good day, and we'll see you tonight. Well, hello everyone. Here we are. We're still on day 5 of our sourdough starter. What I'm going to do, we already did this morning, 1 teaspoon each in both of our jars, our sourdough starter jars. Teaspoon of whole wheat flour and a teaspoon of bottled water. We're going to do the very same thing here. Now, like I told you, let me get some cold water so we can test and see if it floats. Come on, Amy. Come on, sweetie. Come Sorry about that. I should have had that ready, but I didn't. Okay, so the floating test isn't 100%, but a lot of people use that just as a guide to see where they are with their starter. So we're going to try that out right now. I'm going to put a little bit of starter in this water to see if it floats. You don't need a lot, just a drop up, and it's floating, guys. Yes, it's floating. Let me show you. We have a starter, a weak starter, but it's a starter and it's floating. Day 5 in the evening. So don't get too excited because we're going to still take this through tomorrow is what, Sunday, into Monday. And then I'll show you how you can actually start baking with this and getting a little bit of fun out of it. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and feed these little guys. Yay, we've got starter. I thought this morning when we tried it that we were close. So, let's go ahead and add 1 tablespoon of whole wheat flour. 1 tablespoon of whole wheat flour. Tablespoon of bottled or filtered water. Make sure not to use any tap water. It just seems the chemicals in tap water just kills that yeast. You know, I think about that. I wonder what it does to us, you know? Just something, you know, another subject for another time. So we want to stir this up really good because you want to incorporate as much of the environmental air in your home, because your starter is going to be totally unique to you, to your home, your environment. It's really funny though, people will be selling like San Francisco starter, New York starter, and 100-year-old starter, which, you know, that's fine. It gets you started, right? No pun intended there. But, however, as you feed that starter, that original starter is going to change its structure and become solely yours, because all the yeast in the air, that's just a natural occurring thing in life. It's on us, it's everywhere. It is unique to you. So this is going to be unique to my home. I can mail this to you and you get it home, and after a week or so of feeding it and work, it's going to be unique to your home then. It will no longer be unique to mine. So, now that we know we have a floating, young, youthful starter, we're going to cover these guys up again, take really good care of them, put them back on the counter, and then tomorrow morning we're going to do the float test again, see where we are, and hopefully then by Monday I'll be able to show you a recipe that will get you off and running. But yeah, we're here, we're there. So I hope you can follow through with this. Now just remember, day 1 is on there. We fed it once in the when we created it. Day 2 we've got on there in the evening. Day 3 in the evening. Now day 4, my internet went out and I had to dispose of the video. It just was no good. You couldn't even make it out. So day 5, which is today, we fed it this morning 1 tablespoon each of water and whole wheat flour, and we just fed it again. So we're going to repeat the process tomorrow, and tomorrow is when we're also going to check for its viability and the float test. So with that being said, I'm going to close this out. I'm actually making yogurt right now too in another video, so hopefully you will tune in for that as well. Now this video is taking over a week to make, and I'm attaching it one after another. So this probably won't be uploaded until Monday afternoon. So, with that being said, I'm going to say good afternoon. Well, actually, it's evening now. And